Support for this program is provided in part by Guido's Fresh Marketplace. Welcome to The Natural Cook. I'm Anna Gershenson. Today we have a guest in our studio, Carol Kaufman. Carol has been born and raised in Pittsfield, as I learned recently, because I met her in Worcester where I immigrated, so our paths crossed there. And now that I'm back in the Berkshires, we again crossed our paths because I found out that Carol, not really being professionally geared in food and cooking, has a passion for cooking and food and foraging, and we'll learn later about what Carol has been doing and is doing now. And in the meantime, our topic today is foraging in the Berkshires.
That's right.
And when I moved here and walking around and admiring this beautiful nature, I was looking at all these plants and thinking, is there anything I can eat? And turns out that there are many things that you can eat that grow in the wild, and that Carol has been fascinated with, and actually, more than thinking about it, she did something about it.
Well, I like to eat, Anna.
Yes. Okay. So
God forbid I should go without a meal.
In case we don't have enough food and we need to turn to nature, after watching this show, we will be able to do it, right?
That's right.
Okay, so we will talk about, grape leaves and sumac and chicory. And in the meantime, we'll just start cooking.
Okay.
All right, so today we're making stuffed grape leaves.
Stuffed wild grape leaves.
Wild grape leaves, because they grow here in the abundance. And even though dolmas, as we know them, are actually the foods that are popular in the Mediterranean and in many countries. But we love them here as well, and we have something that we can cook them with after we pick them, and we will learn. I will be cooking and telling you what we are doing as being guided by Carol. And in the meantime, Carol will be telling us more about grape leaves and when you need to pick them in order to cook them, because when they grow, they become too tough later in season.
Right.
And you don't want them then. So we start with sauteing. We'll saute pine nuts first. So what goes into it?
1 tablespoon of olive oil.
Okay.
And
yes, tell us all the ingredients while I am going to be sauteing it. Okay. Tell us about all the ingredients that go into this dish.
Okay, we start with chop an onion and saute that.
Yes.
And into that we'll add a 1/2 teaspoon of allspice and the rice, 2/3 of a cup of rice. Now I know that many of you are familiar with stuffed grape leaves in restaurants and stores, groceries, upmarket boutiques that will sell grape leaf stuffed with white rice. I find that a bit gluey. So I like to use a mixture of long grain and wild rices, brown, and even with some wheat berries, because I like texture.
Well, if you want to make a gluten-free dish, then don't include wheat berries.
Right.
But if you don't mind them, then it's a great, because they're chewy and they will add a nice texture, right?
Right.
Carol?
This is just long grain, wild and brown rices.
Yes.
We also add currants and toasted pine nuts, and roll it up in a grape leaf, and you have a delectable appetizer. Or you can make the Greeks make a main meal out of this by drizzling it with an avgolamono sauce, which is an egg lemon sauce. You can also stuff these with quinoa, with freekeh, any kind of grain. But this is the one we're doing today, and it's my favorite. And believe it or not, there's no sugar in here, but the resulting filling is very sweet.
So you can buy you can buy a ready-made blend of rice, right?
Yes.
Or you can just put it together yourself.
Right, sure.
Right, okay.
Sure. Now, first I'd like to show you what a wild grape leaf looks like. See, can you see here?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
These are big ones. This is the size you need, about the size of your palm, so that you have space to roll things up. And you want them this color, the lighter green. Now, the best time to get these is earlier in the season. Of course, this past season, we had so much rain that I wasn't getting grape leaves until July, which is unusual. When I started doing this years ago, it was the end of May. And now we're getting them into July. But next year we could have another drought. Poo, poo, poo.
Hopefully not.
That means God forbid. So that's the leaves that you get. You want to make sure they're pesticide free, that no one has sprayed them. I try not to get them near main highways, but they're all over the Berkshires. You just have to know how to recognize them. And this is what they look like. And frankly, if you can get them away from the birds, the grapes themselves, the wild grapes themselves are very, very tart, but they're also very refreshing. So round about now, if the birds haven't gotten them, just take a taste and they'll pop in your mouth, and they're really very refreshing, particularly on one of these hot days in the spring.
They're actually still green. Yesterday I was
Yes.
walking along the path and I saw the grapes, and they are nice and plump this year, probably because of the abundance of rain
Sure.
and sun, but they are still green, and they are exactly like you said. They have big seeds, but they are nice and tart.
And you'll see them growing all over the county because the birds will eat them and then drop the seeds.
Right. That's how they're proliferating.
Yes.
Okay.
And they're probably in your backyard. You may not even notice it. Go to your schoolyard, go along a hiking trail, up mountains, down valleys. They're everywhere.
These I actually just picked because they are growing right in front of the building
That's
where I
amazing.
live.
Now,
Okay, so,
Anna is sautéing.
I'm beginning to smell. Beginning to smell, which means that they are toasting very nicely. So I'm going to remove them before they start burning.
you want them golden brown.
Right, okay.
They'll probably take another, maybe
Okay.
another 15
Yes.
to 20 seconds.
Yes,
there.
yes. Some of them have turned color and some of them are beginning to burn. So I'm going to reduce the heat. I'm actually going to turn it off for now because it keeps the heat. All right.
Now, one thing about the nuts, pine nuts are very expensive. So if you don't want to go that direction, you can just chop up some almonds and toast those.
But they really give you that authentic flavor.
Now, there's some history to the stuffed grape leaf. There's ancient Greek legend that asserts that the Greek gods ate these atop Mount Olympus. And it's also said that during the Theban War, the Thebans ate stuffed grape leaves because they were very low on meat. So they minced it up into small pieces and mixed it with other ingredients and rolled up the grape leaves. And that helped stave off starvation during the war.
This is actually, it's a wonderful story. And grape leaves are very good for you, for your bones, for your skin. They have all these ingredients that our bodies need. And we can actually, when they are young, we can eat them raw. We can put them into salads.
That's true. That's true. And the grape plant is one of the few plants that actually can be eaten from, I don't know, stem to stern, no, from the leaves, the berries.
Yes.
Everything can be eaten, which is really nice.
So we're adding like another couple of tablespoons.
Okay, and now you're going to add
then adding the
diced
onions.
onion.
Okay, and we're going to saute them, and then actually we will continue cooking in this pan. Okay.
That smells delicious.
Okay, so as you know, I like adding a pinch of salt to flavor stuff. Okay, so as we continue cooking, let's talk a little bit about what else grows in the Berkshires that we can eat.
All right. How many of you have ever been to New Orleans and had been at the Café du Monde and had a beignet with coffee? And you know the coffee is combined with chicory. This is ground roasted chicory. And I'll bet you didn't realize that in Berkshire County, this, all over the roads you see it, this beautiful blue flower is chicory. In the spring, you can eat the leaves in your salad and dig up the root like this, wash it very thoroughly, roast it, grind it, and you have chicory. Now, chicory was used as a coffee substitute, I think even back to the Napoleonic Wars.
Yes.
And definitely during...
Actually, I think that that's when it was introduced.
Probably,
Right,
yeah.
around that time.
And
yes.
it adds a... I still can't find the word to describe what the flavor is, but it's almost a chocolatey smell, isn't it?
Yes. Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
it's really like intoxifying.
It's
I love it.
It really adds a little kick to your coffee. So if you're energetic, just don't dig it up by the side of the road if the road has been salted. You don't want all that toxic stuff in your chicory. So go into a field and try to dig it up. Now where I live, the soil is very hard clay, so you have to work hard. Find a place with good soil. It'll be a lot easier to dig up. And you can put the flowers in a vase, and it really is pretty. You have a nice display if you take chicory and the Queen Anne's lace, the goldenrod if you're not allergic to it, and it makes a nice display.
Well,
So, I think those
speaking about sumac, look how gorgeous, how
Oh.
vibrant it is.
ruby
and-
red. Look
yes.
at that color. Is
And
that spectacular?
I didn't know that we could forage this because when I was in Israel, I bought sumac, and I
Right
use
here.
it in cooking, and I can share, what
you see
sumac really does for you besides being so wonderful for your health, because it's a magnificent antioxidant. It's really very, very high on that scale where it helps you defeat the free radicals that are roaming in your body and trying to attach themselves and create havoc.
Now,
So
before we go on, do you want to
yes.
just add the allspice and the
Sure.
and the rice now?
So
Is
how
it
much allspice are we adding?
Half a teaspoon of
Half
allspice.
a teaspoon of allspice, also one of these very potent, health-wise and very delicious and aromatic. And don't forget to have fresh spices. Don't forget to smell them before you start cooking, making sure that they are really giving aroma to your food and all the healing properties.
And here's 2/3 of a cup of rice.
Okay. And so we want to mix them together and make sure that they are coated with this nice oil and get blended with our aromatics and with our onions. Okay.
And after about 30 seconds, we'll add 1.5 cups of water
Okay.
and the currants,
Right. Okay.
quarter cup of currants.
So the currants, here you see they are really like kind of stony, but you don't have to worry about it. It's not like with scones, you have to plump them up because otherwise they will still stay stony. Because we're adding water, they will plump up together with that water.
Right.
So don't worry about that. And they will add this nice sweetness. And they are actually dried grapes. So we're kind of like putting
Right, they're
grape
full.
leaves with form of dried grapes.
right, and-
Like reuniting them, right?
Yes.
In our dish.
Mama, I
Right.
have missed you so much. And then the
Okay.
water, and just cover it and cook for about 20 minutes until all
Okay.
the water is absorbed.
All right. Ooh.
Oh my God, it smells good.
This is what we needed, right? This accompaniment of boiling water. Okay, do we add salt?
You can add salt and pepper afterwards.
After.
After it's cooked, we'll add the pine nuts and then the
Okay.
salt and pepper to taste.
Yes, I like adding salt as it's cooking because when you add salt at the beginning, then it gets absorbed and then your dish tastes totally different. If you that's kind of been my rule.
Okay.
And I'm sharing it with you.
Okay.
If you want, you can adopt it. If not, it's that's fine
Well,
too.
that's how recipes evolve from
Yes.
from generation to generation,
Right.
from friend to
yes.
friend.
So nice and salty,
Okay.
and then the rice will be really flavorful.
Right. So we
once.
just need to cover and
Yes.
cook for about 20,
Okay,
25
so
minutes, and
this
then.
is too small.
So back to sumac, this
Yes.
ruby-colored, claret-colored,
Okay.
fabulous thing. This is not poison sumac. Poison sumac looks nothing like, this is called staghorn sumac that we find growing all over Berkshire County, and it's spectacular. Now, the best thing to do when you do, rub your finger across and taste it.
Yes.
It's very tangy, lemony.
It doesn't smell like anything really,
No, it
but
doesn't.
once you rub your fingers, it's just this tartness just hits your tongue. And by the way, sumac is great to add to foods, and people don't know what to do with it. It actually enhances all the flavors.
Absolutely.
That for example, when I was cooking like short ribs, right? And I and there were many different things I put there. And when I tasted it, the taste was kind of dull. As soon as I added some sumac to it, all the flavors blossomed. It's just amazing. So you can add it. If you want sourness, you can add it without, like, instead of lemon juice.
Sure.
So it's very convenient to have it. You don't have to go and buy lemons. You
And it
can-
also adds color, beautiful color.
Right.
I think the appearance of a dish is half the battle. If it's dull, and frankly, if you'll look at these stuffed grape leaves, the finished product, the color is sort of olive drab army
Yes.
jeep.
It's not, right.
But
that's why we're
that's why the
decorating it
lemon's
with
there.
lemons.
But
Yes.
oh, you're having a snack already. Okay.
Yeah. Well, taste it,
Well, thank you.
because you can eat it in a salad.
Mm.
And
And
these are
vegetables
really
are free on Weight Watchers.
exactly. Okay.
That's
So-
good. That's very good.
So what else do you want to tell us about the grape leaves?
Sumac. Oh, about the grape leaves.
Oh, you finished about
Okay.
grape leaves,
Yeah.
right?
The sumac.
Yeah. Okay.
I made the mistake last year, the first time I foraged for sumac, I made the mistake of reading a website and not noticing that it was written in northern Maine, and said to pick it in August. By the time I picked it in August, it was infested with little wormies. So this year I went out in July and got these. Now you take them out. These are still drying. You take them off the flour, and then you dry them for a couple weeks. Then run them through a blender or a food processor, and you end up with a spice. And it's wonderful. It's used very frequently in Mediterranean and Middle Eastern cooking.
Yes.
And it does. You can add it to
It has
anything.
this very earthy right,
And it's
smell.
It's not as tart as lemon, but it's tangy and has a very special, maybe a little raspberry hint to it.
Yes.
So that's really exciting to work with, and
Okay.
it's pretty.
So tell us what we will be doing once we have our mix.
Okay.
What we will be doing, because we should show what we are doing with our grape leaves, since we already have pre-cooked rice.
Yes, okay. This I just want to show you. These are what the grape leaves look like when they're cooked. As you see, they're kind of olive drab. These are the fresh ones, and this is what I freeze them, because I may not have people coming over immediately. I freeze them in flat plastic bag, mark how many you have and when you pick them, and then I stick them in the freezer. They can, after a couple months, you won't have to boil them, but I think it's a good idea to boil them to tenderize them as much as possible, because there's nothing as bad as a tough grape leaf when you're biting in. So what we're going to do today is take some of these
Yes.
and put them out on the
To cover the pan. In
To
other
cover the-
words, you take the pan, the size where all your grape leaves that are folded and rolled are fitting comfortably and tight, right?
right, nice and
Yes.
tight. Now use your ripped ones and the small ones to line the pan.
Yes. Does it
But use-
matter whether you go with a backside up or
No,
doesn't
not
matter?
at all. But when
Okay.
the ones you want to fill,
Yes.
you want to put vein side up.
Right. Okay.
And that's pretty easy to identify. The veins are pretty prominent.
vein side up.
Up, yeah.
Okay.
And this actually,
So with the shiny side
right? Shiny side down. Yeah.
down. Okay. So you have. So this is shiny. You can see, like it's very oily
So this
looking.
one's too small.
And this is right.
this one's too
and
small.
this is. And then how do you put them? Does it face you with the stem? Where
The
the
stem down,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. All right. So
This
we'll put some of them here, ready for rolling.
Yeah, this
And
one-
the smaller ones, because we
one's
can
torn.
patch them. We
Yes.
can put torn ones or smaller ones.
Right.
We can just patch them and
Here you go. Here's a
put
good
them
one there for
okay,
rolling.
Great.
And I'll just keep putting these here.
Okay.
This way, we do this so they don't stick to they don't burn when we're
Yes,
boiling.
right.
Because they will be cooking for about almost an hour. This is another torn one.
And do you boil them on top of the stove or in
Yes.
the oven?
On top of the stove, I usually
Okay.
use, I can't,
This
can I
is a
say
good one.
Corningware?
Oh, sure.
I usually use a Corningware because
Yes.
that's good for the stovetop, and it's nice and thick.
Okay.
Or a Dutch oven is good.
Yes.
This looks like this is
yes,
two
this
stuck
is
together.
Two stuck together, right.
Okay, that looks like it's a good one for.
Right. All right.
Okay. I think
Okay.
that's enough to fill. What
yes.
do you think?
All right. Absolutely. Just maybe one more here
Yeah,
too.
right. This is a good one. I
to
want to use a
cook.
good
Yeah,
one.
Don't.
Here's a small.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, I need
so
another one here.
this is cooking. We can peek. And be careful when you shift the lid, because all the steam will come into your face. So don't put your face there. Okay. It's simmering nicely. So let it continue cooking. And in the meantime, we'll take our pre-cooked rice, right? That's what it is, right?
Right, this is the rice with the pine nuts
Right.
and the currants
Right.
and the onions.
I'll grab another bigger. Let's put it here. Shift it a little bit. Do we need this? Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Right?
I'll take
okay,
these
let's
away.
put it back. Clean up our space. All right. So we are going to put the rice. This is our stuffing. We're making our stuffing. So we're putting the rice, and it makes good amount, and it already has pine nuts worked into it, right?
The pine nuts and the currants, everything's in there.
And then, did you already salt and pepper
I have
it?
not.
Okay.
I have not.
So since
We have a no
with
salt
this,
house.
you won't have to be adding salt to the ones that you salted. But here, since they haven't been seasoned, we want to make sure that without proper amount of salt. And don't be afraid to eat salt if you don't eat processed foods. The flavors won't come out, right? Okay, so pepper, which is also wonderful and brings out all the other nutrients, helps them, as we know about the black pepper. And what do we do next? Is that all we have?
That's all we have to do. Now we just take a tablespoon.
Yes, so let's
and
taste.
Put a little tablespoon.
Yeah. Tastes good. And the rice is a little bit I like it that it has some texture, some bite to it, because it will continue cooking.
That's why I like this, because better than white, because
so
white tends to
is
get
this
gluey.
much?
That's perfect.
Okay.
Keeping tablespoon
And where do I put it?
right there in the middle there.
In the middle.
And then roll it up like an egg roll.
Okay,
Just bring the sides in.
right. So you start with this, or you start with the sides?
I do start with the sides,
Bring the sides,
and then just roll it up
and then make sure that it's tight, right?
nice and tight.
Yes,
And then
Okay.
we'll place it in the pan here, seam side down.
right. So that it would not unravel.
Right.
Okay, that's great. So while I'm stuffing them, can you tell us more about, this wonderful bounty? And is anything else that you know that is growing in the Berkshires?
Well, the leaves of the chicory plant I mentioned you can have for salad in the springtime. There are dandelion greens you can have. There's also the wild carrot, but I would be very careful harvesting that. It's called Queen Anne's lace. You don't want to mix it up with poison hemlock. That would be a very unhappy experience. And I tend to stay away from wild mushrooms because I don't know them well enough. There is one, I will only look at mushrooms that have no twin. And my daughter and son-in-law have found something called the lion's head mushroom up in Vermont. And they've gotten 3 and 4 pound mushrooms up there. And those look like those ice things that come on the sides of the road and the turnpike when you're driving, those big,
Yes, yes.
almost like stalactites.
Yes.
It's a combination of those ice flows and the stalactites, and there's no twin to them. They're absolutely delicious, and you can I can't find them in my yard, but you might be able to find them on one of your hikes. Perhaps, I don't know if you hike up Monument Mountain or Mount Greylock. I'm sure there's a mushroom or two up there. But if you want to look at mushrooms, I would go with a professional.
Absolutely.
I would never trust myself.
Yes.
The supermarket I trust.
So
there are plenty of other things. The berries this time of year, we've got blackberries. They're coming out now. Blueberries are pretty much finished, wild blueberries. I grew up picking wild blueberries up in Peru, Massachusetts.
In Peru, Massachusetts, you have them, are they growing in the forest?
Well, actually, my aunt and uncle had a place out there. And
Okay.
the whole family used to go out there and pick them, but apparently the property was donated to the Forestry Service, and now it's all overgrown, unfortunately.
Yes.
That was a lot of fun.
I know that black raspberries or blackberries, wild blackberries are abundant here.
Yes, I just picked some out of my driveway last week.
Okay. All right. So once we fill it, then we take a cup of water.
A cup of water.
And a quarter cup of lemon. We combine them, right?
Quarter cup of lemon juice.
But first, when it's all assembled, we
And
will
some-
take some more olive oil, right?
Right, just some-
and we will drizzle them on top.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah, not too much because you don't want them to taste greasy.
Right.
That's often when you get them if you buy them in a deli,
Yes.
they're gelatinous and they're greasy. We don't like that.
So So then you will add your water. Do you need to salt this water?
No,
Not really.
absolutely not,
Okay,
no.
just lemony water, and then they will be slowly cooking. Make sure that your flame is on low, right?
Right.
So that they wouldn't
We'll,
be
we'll bring it to a boil first and then put
Right.
it down to as low as possible.
right, and cover tightly.
Cover tightly, and then
Okay.
about 50 to 60 minutes. The longer you cook them, the more tender the leaf will be.
So will all the water get absorbed?
No,
No.
not at all. No.
Okay. So what you are looking for actually is for them to be tender.
Yes.
But the water will still be there, and then do you keep them in that cooking water, or how do you keep them in the refrigerator?
Actually, there will be a tiny bit of water.
Okay.
Most of it will evaporate.
Right.
I want to correct
Right.
myself. Most of it will
Yes.
evaporate. You want to check and make sure that there is water in the pan at all times, because you don't want to smell that burning smell when you're off checking your email and suddenly you say, oh my God, I've burned my grape leaves, especially after all the work in preparation for it. So make sure there's water at all times, and then you just let them cool off, put them on a platter, serve them, and they will disappear really quickly.
Okay. And how long can you keep them?
You can make them a day or two ahead of time.
Yes.
I don't know how long the delis keep them, but I've had them in my refrigerator for several days,
Yes.
if they last that long.
Okay. That's
In fact,
wonderful.
I made them for a party. We had a big party at my house for a significant
Okay.
birthday and a significant anniversary, and I had tons and tons of them, and they disappeared. People took them home.
So this is the kind of food that you can actually use locally grown ingredients.
Yep.
You can make in advance. It's healthy because your blend of rice is whole. It's a little bit of white rice, but mostly it's also red and wild rice, which is not really a rice. And they're all nutritious, as well as pine nuts, which add that healthy fat, and currants that add sweetness, and you have a very healthy food on your hand that you can prepare in advance
Yes.
and eat as a snack and nourish yourself. So
And if you really want to, you could probably kick back with a little glass of ouzo
okay,
and make a really authentic experience.
yes. So
And
I cannot wait to try this, Carol. Even though I ate many different stuffed grape leaves, but I've never eaten one prepared by you. So let's see.
Well, I hope these leaves are tender.
Yes, well, we'll see. Now, this is what it looks like. And I'm going to use my hands, which is the best tool.
That's the best way.
First, the sweetness hits you. I would probably make the water more lemony because I like it when you have tartness. And I would probably even add some sumac to the filling.
You know, I was thinking that after I made them. I said, you know, I'm busy here with the sumac. That would be a very nice addition.
Right.
Because the lemon does cut the oil, and it makes it feel fresher and healthier.
And you get so much fiber in this dish,
Yes.
which I love as well because the grape leaves are full of fiber. I'm eating with a full mouth. Okay. Since I'm chewing, so Carol, can you please kind of sum up what it is that we're so excited about living in the Berkshires quickly?
What about living in the Berkshires, aside from the fact that it's beautiful and it's quiet and it's peaceful,
And
and we can forage for a meal. In fact, I think it would be fun to have a potluck dinner. I would challenge you to develop a potluck dinner all made from wild foods. Does that sound like fun?
that sounds awesome. So thank you so much for coming to my show and
Thank you
sharing
for having
this.
me.
And come back and watch us again. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Support for this program is provided in part by Guido's Fresh Marketplace.